Hello, everyone. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about how in Thermo Fisher, we've been leveraging infrastructure investments and innovation to accelerate biologics drug substance development. Before we begin, I'd like to talk a little bit about the trends that we're seeing in the drug development space. Some interesting changes or continued changes in the clinical pipeline, including really a large number of compounds being held for a longer period of time by small and emerging pharma and biotech companies. We're seeing an increased complexity of the molecules folks are looking to bring to market, whether that be biospecific antibodies or additional fusion proteins, as opposed to the run-of-the-mill monoclonal antibodies. As well as I'm sure is being talked about in other presentations and in other places, albeit virtually this year, the continuation of growth in both the cell and gene therapy space, as well as the continued growth in the orphan drug market. So what's this mean from a business dynamics perspective? At times, it can mean there's a mismatch between the drugs in the pipeline and the manufacturing capabilities. That becomes pretty clear when one looks at the cell and gene therapy space, but it also can be true when one looks at the volumetric requirements to manufacture more traditional recombinant proteins, including monoclonal antibodies. So what's that mean? It means that we need to start thinking about capacity differently, and I'll be talking a little bit about that during the presentation today. There's also a continued focus on timeline. The joke we always talk about is, what's a customer's first, second, and third priority when it comes to first in human? It's timeline, timeline, and timeline. And the ability to achieve those continues to be an area of focus for the industry. And then finally, looking to have reduced capital investment to achieve, let's call it therapeutic realization. Getting a little bit more into the details of what I just talked about, there continues to be strong growth in the biologics pipeline, approximately 40% in 2019. And a steady proportion of those being approved drugs. So obviously exciting for us, exciting for the industry to continue to have such a strong impact on the newly approved therapeutics. The other thing that's been really interesting to see progress in recent years, in the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years, is where molecules are being produced from a scale perspective. And if you look at the bar chart on the right, what you'll notice is, one, obviously a large increase in the total number of therapeutics that are being manufactured in the timelines cited. But there is, one, a decrease in total volumetric requirements. Primarily, due to molecules being more potent, higher titers, concepts we're all very familiar with, but also a strong shift in terms of the distribution of manufacturing capabilities required to produce those therapeutics. So a much larger percentage of drugs can now be manufactured at volumes less than 5,000 liters, and a large percentage of the molecules can be manufactured at the 2,000 liter scale. So clearly impacts the thoughts around single-use manufacturing and the capability to achieve commercial volumes at that scale. So now that I've set the stage, I'd like to talk a little bit about what we're doing within pharma services to help address the challenges and opportunities presented by the current market. First is, we've had a strong focus in the drug development and clinical trials logistics spaces over the recent years, as well as continued focus on commercial manufacturing. We've also looked to bring more flexible business models to bear. So how do we effectively meet a customer's needs, whether that be a large pharmaceutical company where they have a lot of internal infrastructure, et cetera, or a smaller startup that's looking to bring their first phase 2, phase 3 molecule to market. We're also able to partner, given the breadth of services Thermo Fisher Scientific can bring to bear, with our partners from the discovery phase all the way through commercial supply. And going to the right portion of the slide, really to highlight the breadth of services that the organization's able to bring for a given customer, whether that be drug substance, drug product manufacturing, viral vector manufacturing, and then all of the supply chain support from clinical trial distribution to cold chain storage, et cetera. You know, really able to help a customer consolidate their supply chain and offer solutions that simplify their ability to bring drugs not only to the initial clinical trials, but all the way through commercial manufacturing. Diving a little bit deeper into the organization, want to take some time to talk about what we're doing in the drug substance space, and we'll talk about some exciting news in terms of some additions to that space in the subsequent slides. So our drug substance manufacturing network comprises of 4 sites globally: St. Louis, Missouri, Princeton, New Jersey in the US, and then a facility in Groningen, the Netherlands, and Brisbane, Australia. Those existing facilities are currently focused on drug substance development and GMP manufacturing at the single-use scale. Not to spoil the subsequent slides, but we have recently entered a partnership that will be bringing stainless steel manufacturing into the fold at a site in Langnau, Switzerland, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that in subsequent slides. On the drug product side, we focus manufacturing at our sites in Greenville as well as in Monza and Ferentino. Overall, able to bring a large amount of capabilities to bear, everything from work we're doing in the early development space with the Beacon Amber 15 and then subsequently the Amber 250, which can also support process characterization work and later phase activities. A huge variety of platforms that we work on, everything from fed batch to perfusion, also some proprietary concentrated fed batch technology that we can offer, as well as a breadth of expertise. You know, really like to highlight our expertise in tech transfer with over 180 tech transfer activities executed since 2015, as well as a large number of process development programs that we've been able to support our customers with as well. And then finally, a lot of experience bringing molecules to commercialization, a large number of PPQ campaigns being executed, as well as commercial products that we manufacture for our customers. So how has what we've been doing in terms of our investments within pharma services help address the development needs and long-term commercial manufacturing needs of our customers? You know, the numbers, I think, do to some extent speak for themselves, with over $800 million being invested to expand capacity, everything from development to commercial manufacturing by the end of this year. I'll talk a little bit about the investments we've been making in biologics development, as well as, you know, other talks, I believe, during bio will get into the work we're doing in the cell and gene therapy space, as well as the drug product space. So where have we been investing the most? So first, I want to talk a little bit about or give an update on the work that we've been doing at our St. Louis facility and our investments in single-use capacity there. Recently made some pretty substantial moves to double the capacity at that site. Also really excited to talk about the introduction of large volume stainless steel manufacturing into the network via a strategic partnership with CSL, and we'll get into that in a little bit more detail, and really the ability of this partnership to allow pharma services to bring to bear a full spectrum of offerings, going from cell line development, small scale first in human manufacturing, and all the way up to large volume commercial manufacturing. We've also, to pair with our investments in the clinical and commercial manufacturing space, have made some substantial investments in our development capacity. So we've recently looking to close on a deal to acquire around 56,000 square feet of both development and office space, which is very, very close and sort of a continuous office park next to our St. Louis manufacturing facility. So being able to bring additional development as well as QC capacity to that facility. And then finally, want to talk a little bit about innovation. So we have just completed construction on a bioprocessing collaboration center, which is really designed to bring together all of the great work Thermo Fisher does on the component and manufacturing equipment side, as well as analytical equipment, and pair that with the experiences that we've had in pharma services around using that equipment, and together make a better offering to bring to the market. So let's transition to the strategic investments that we've made within the St. Louis site. So in 2019, there was a $50 million expansion completed within the St. Louis facility to bring on a 6-pack of bioreactors, 4 of which have been filled, and an additional downstream suite. We have focused on using Thermo Fisher technologies within this expansion, and really taken some lessons learned from previous expansion projects to design this facility. As you can see here, we've built platforms by which folks can access the top portions of the single-use bioreactors versus using ladders, et cetera, which were used in some of our older suites. And a lot of examples of these types of things in terms of how we've been able to really think critically about how we operate and design a better facility forward. And certainly we're taking these lessons learned and backing them into older parts of our facility as well. So moving on, want to cover some of the really exciting work we've done as part of a strategic partnership with CSL. As part of this strategic partnership, Thermo Fisher is going to be taking over operations in mid-2021 of a state-of-the-art biologics manufacturing facility in Langnau, Switzerland. So this facility is currently wrapping up construction and starting the various commissioning, qualification, and validation activities. Obviously going to have a big impact to our ability to provide a, let's call it, long-term commercial option for our customers at a substantial scale that, let's be honest, certain drugs require to achieve effective cost of goods. So really, really excited to be offering this capacity and capability to our customers in the not too distant future. Obviously this will broaden our capabilities as a network, and we'll join in, with the 4 other sites that I spoke to earlier in supporting our customers through their molecules life cycle. So moving on to our investments in process development, I spoke earlier to the investment in a 56,000 square foot building at the St. Louis site, but also want to cover some of the great innovative work that the team's been doing as well. On the left, you can see a quick highlight of some of the work that we've been doing, leveraging the Berkeley Lights Beacon system to shorten the time for clone selection as part of the cell line development workflows. So really moving some of these processes from weeks to days with this really innovative technology. And what it does is it does cell sorting on a microchip and is able to really automatically select those high producers and screen a larger number of clones for us to identify those that have the potential to be the highest producers, and move those into first-in-human production as quickly as possible for our customers. So have certainly demonstrated the success of this technology already, and are excited to continue to offer it to additional customers. On the right, I want to talk briefly about some of the work we've done around the use of the multi-attribute method. And what this is a way to leverage a single analytical technique using mass spec to gain insights into a variety of different molecular attributes with a single method. This does two things. One allows for additional insights really into the critical quality attributes of the molecules that we're working on, but also shortens the timeline by which that data can be, or in which that data can be obtained. So in essence, allowing us to use this technology to shorten the overall process development workflows. And this is another capability that we've started bringing into the fold of our quick to clinic offering, which is our platform early development offering, as well as bringing it into the fold with some of the other development activities that we're currently ongoing as a business unit. And finally, I'd like to talk about some of the really exciting work that we've started and are continuing to progress within the Bioprocessing Collaboration Center. So you can see here, it's empty now. There's actually a lot of, well, it's empty in the picture, I should say. There's actually a lot of items being uncrated and started up in this collaboration center. And what this space will allow is the best and the brightest from the portions of Thermo Fisher, as I mentioned, designing equipment or single-use components, et cetera, to come together with the best and the brightest of pharma services, those folks with GMP experience who have been working in plants for most of their career or in process development for most of their career, to come together and really think about how these workflows that we leverage within single-use manufacturing can be better and inform, in both directions, how the equipment designers or the single-use component designers can make these things easier to use and more infallible as they go into operations, but then also understand from our end how they're designed, or the pharma services end, I should say, how they're designed and how we can better leverage the technologies that the folks within rest of Thermo Fisher are bringing to bear. Obviously this drives value for everyone involved. We can make better, more efficient, easier to use products as an organization. We can use those products to be more efficient and have better execution within operations. And then obviously that drives value on both sides from the customer as well. Another big component of this, beyond just the equipment and the component design, is thinking about how we revolutionize data management and digitization within single use. Certainly, there's been a lot of activity within the broader biomanufacturing ecosystem around data management and automation, especially when one thinks about large stainless steel plants, where there continues to be work to realize, let's call it Industry 4.0, or as we've referred to it here, revolutions in data management. There's still a lot of opportunity in the single-use space, and that's going to be a major focus of the collaboration center as well as, as I spoke to earlier, the improvements within single-use technology products and services. So overall, as a business, we continue to focus on how we can bring value to our customers throughout the clinical life cycle, whether that be the work that we can do to get customers to start with us in the early development stage, from cell line development, upstream and downstream development, as well as analytical development, and accelerate their molecules into those key first-in-human trials, or providing clinical supply via our expertise in tech transfer and making sure that we're efficiently providing the needed clinical material to progress those assets through the clinical phases. And then finally into commercial production. And how do we provide optionality across scales in an efficient manner. Because, obviously, as folks enter these earlier phase clinical trials, the let's call it ultimate demand for those molecules is always relatively unknown. And we have been hyper-focused on being able to provide a variety of options across that space to ensure that we're able to provide what a customer needs from a cost of goods perspective and a manufacturing efficiency perspective. So with that, I'd like to just highlight the Thermo Fisher mission that certainly I have a huge amount of pride in. I think especially in the time of COVID-19, these things become even more critical, and being able to support, whether it be from the biologics space or across the entire Thermo Fisher enterprise in this tough time has been something I've been really proud of. And we truly do enable our customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. And with that, I'll wish everyone well. I hope everyone's being safe, and that we can all hopefully connect in person next year. Thank you.